I take my responsibility for posting that. Some things that were questionable in there, untrue. Like I said, and the first time you guys asked me when I was sitting on that stage, I don't believe everything that everybody posts. It's a documentary. So I take my responsibility.
It seems like Adam Silver wanted to hear the word "I apologize," or in your mind, you said, "I didn't mean to cause any harm." Were you apologizing, or did you not apologize?
I didn't mean to cause any harm. I'm not the one that made the documentary.
Kyrie, for the record, do you have any anti-Semitic beliefs?
Again, I'm going to repeat. I don't know how the label becomes justified because you guys ask me the same questions over and over again. But this is not going to turn into a spin around cycle of questions upon questions. I told you guys how I felt. I respect all walks of life and embrace all walks of life. That's where I sit.
I think what people want to hear, though, is just a yes or no on that question. Yes or no.
I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from. I cannot be anti-Semitic if I know where I come from.
4 hours after the Nets issued their suspension, Kyrie would post the following apology on social media, which read in part, "To all Jewish families and communities that are hurt and affected from my post, I am deeply sorry to have caused you pain, and I apologize. I initially reacted out of emotion to being unjustly labeled anti-Semitic instead of focusing on the healing process of my Jewish brothers and sisters that were hurt from the hateful remarks made in the documentary. I want to clarify any confusion on where I stand fighting against anti-Semitism by apologizing for both posting the documentary without context and a factual explanation outlining the specific beliefs in the documentary I agreed with and disagreed with. I had no intentions to disrespect any Jewish cultural history regarding the Holocaust or to perpetuate any hate." Okay, gentlemen. A lot of layers here to this one. Stephen A., I'll start with you. What stands out to you here?
Sadness. You know, you don't take any joy in what's transpiring right now because you're watching an individual who's a phenomenal basketball player, phenomenal athlete, box office, at least once was box office. In terms of his talent, would be for several years. You're watching him disintegrate before our very eyes. And it's all because of stubbornness. It's because of arrogance. And that's what really shines out in my mind. Let me be very, very clear. Kyrie Irving, I believe, is not a bad person. I don't believe he meant to hurt anyone in any way. The problem is that the same individual that wants to have power with his words, the power to influence and affect the lives of people, isn't taking the level of responsibility or absorbing the level of responsibility that comes with it. First of all, know what the hell you're talking about. That's number one. When you're talking about your history, it's one thing for you to sit up there and remind people of things from an historical perspective as it pertains to your own community. Indentured servitude, slavery, Jim Crow laws, things of that nature, because that's what he was alluding to when he was talking about keeping that same momentum, that same intensity and energy when he was talking to the media yesterday. And as a black person, we should all appreciate that element of him. But when you get in to someone else's history and you contribute to denying what the Jewish community has endured and the kind of the ridiculous theories that people try to throw out there, insinuations that the Holocaust didn't exist, that Adolf Hitler is somebody to be celebrated, you've got a different problem. That's egregious, that's irresponsible, that's wrong, that's uncalled for, that's heinous, that's wrong on so many levels. And to be lost and clueless as to how that can affect a community different than yours is one thing. But then to sit back and talk about how you won't even apologize at the time for it being anti-Semitic because you don't deem yourself to be anti-Semitic. It's just irresponsible. It really, really is. And so the suspension is warranted. There is no doubt about that. By the way, it's not just a 5-game suspension. It's potentially longer. They say a minimum of 5 games. From what I've been told, Josiah is completely done with him. He's dealing with him because he's under contract and he has to, but he's completely done with Kyrie Irving. Commissioner Adam Silver, who knows Kyrie Irving personally, who is a Jewish man, was incredibly off-put and hurt by the irresponsible rhetoric that Kyrie Irving contributed to disseminating by putting that film on Twitter, on his Twitter page. And I think that it speaks to something of I wouldn't say a larger issue, but just something that should allow us all to illuminate things in this respect. Kyrie Irving said yesterday he considers himself a beacon of light. I have religiously stated when I have criticized him that the biggest problem with him is not that his heart is in the wrong place, because he is not a bad guy. It's that he thinks his intellect far exceeds those of so many others, that he is enlightened, and that the rest of us are living in darkness, and we need to come to the light that he is trying to shine upon us, and therefore we'll be better off, and we'll be more enlightened, and we'll be more educated. He comes across not as a student eager to learn, but as somebody who is somewhat professorial, that has already arrived, whose knowledge far exceeds that of so many other people. He can't keep quiet. He has to speak, and he has to give off this impression that he's trying to enlighten us. He was trying to enlighten us about the whole vaccination issue. He's trying to enlighten us about the Jewish community and, Israelites and what they believe. The original man is black. That means the original Jewish individual is black. There's a lot of people who believe that the original man is black. They don't have to be Israelites. They could be Christians. I know a whole bunch of Christians. You're looking at that person. I believe Adam and Eve were black. Okay, I ain't apologizing for that. That doesn't mean I turn around and insult someone else's religion and question someone else's belief, because it's their faith, just like it's my faith, just like it's his faith. He confuses faith with knowledge and believes that everybody else is lacking, and seems to have this insatiable appetite to show you how you lack in knowledge compared to him. That is what has gotten him in trouble, and I don't know how he gets out of this.
The Brooklyn Nets are a complete disaster. First they fire Steve Nash, and now they have more issues with Kyrie Irving, like they've had in previous seasons. And I think this is just the beginning. He said at minimum 5 games. Even though Kyrie did apologize, I don't think it will end there. I think there'll be another issue before Kyrie even can step on the court again. Putting the team aside, Kyrie was right when he said he was unjustly called anti-Semitic. Yeah, he shared a documentary, but that documentary is 2.5 hours long. It's one thing to criticize him as a basketball player, but if you're attacking someone's character, someone as a human being, you better have hard facts to back it up, and this just isn't it. Yes, there's some things in the documentary that aren't true. Kyrie himself admitted that. But we can't just put labels on someone for something they shared. He didn't make the documentary. He probably didn't even watch the whole thing. He needs to be smarter about what he shares, but that doesn't mean he's anti-Semitic or a hateful person. Have we ever known Kyrie to be a hateful person? Yes, he says things that aren't true. Yes, he's hard to play with sometimes. But Kyrie the human being has given us no reason to call him anti-Semitic and try to attack him like the media has. In this case, you can't just look at what he did, you have to look at the intentions behind it, and the intent isn't proven, so you can't just call him things like anti-Semitic. I know they asked him if he was, and he should have just said no, but he's tired of being controlled and labeled something that he's not. So in response, he's being difficult. He deleted the tweet, donated $500,000 to stop hate, and did everything he could to rectify his actions. I'm not a fan of Kyrie. He doesn't play enough games for me to even care. But most people that are attacking him haven't seen the documentary and don't even know why he's anti-Semitic. They're jumping on a train because everyone else is. We need to stop saying Kyrie Irving is anti-Semitic and start saying Kyrie shared something that wasn't completely true and can be looked at as anti-Semitic. I'm not going to say for sure because I haven't seen it. You can't judge someone's entire character by one tweet. Kyrie has done way more for the community than he's done against it, and I'm tired of seeing people jump on a bandwagon because they're too scared of being the next target and being called anti-Semitic. If you want to call him a bad teammate, selfish, stubborn, someone who needs to be smarter about what he posts, fine. But you can't call him anti-Semitic when you don't know anything about him and you just saw something online that told you to. Start thinking for yourself, do some research, watch the documentary. He said it's not all true. He doesn't agree with everything in it. He should have clarified that. If you call him anti-Semitic, I want you to really think about why you're doing it. Is it because you watched the documentary and came to that conclusion? Or is it because someone online told you to? But that is all I have for this video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about Kyrie Irving being suspended from the Brooklyn Nets. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and subscribe.